Welcome. This will be a relatively quick update. Part of our continuing series of pointing out that California values are something only for Californians and not other progressives. We just finished an interview with Rosalind, who's a Californian that was recently living in New York, and she confirmed something I said in my book in 2012. East Coast liberals just aren't like West Coast liberals. Yeah, they might be progressive, but they don't do diversity and have our values like we do. Documented that in California's Next Century 2.0 in 2012. We just had Rosalind, who is a Californian previously living in New York, did an interview with her today, and she backed up the conclusion that I reached 10 years ago. Additionally, recently we covered how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the famed East Coast liberal, said two things wildly out of line with California values. Number one, she said, "Do not bring those undocumented immigrants to my neighborhood. I don't want any of them." That would never happen in California. And secondly, she questioned, is it okay for a Latina to marry a white guy in modern America? Something that California hasn't dealt with in 30 years. I know because I'm the product of a Anglo and Latino marriage. So we just saw AOC go, I don't know about interracial marriage, and I'm not sure these undocumented immigrants need to be in our backyard. And that was 2 weeks ago. That stuff would never happen in California. We would never have that conversation, and we would never behave the way that she did here. But let me provide a few more examples, also by American liberals, to show that they just don't share our values here in California. First one is, as our CEO Jason Wright says, Biden, another shade of Trump. Biden turning to Trump-era rule to expel Venezuelan immigrants. 2 years ago, candidate Joe Biden loudly denounced Donald Trump for immigration policies that inflicted cruelty and exclusion at every turn, including those fleeing the brutal government of socialist Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. Now, with increasing numbers of Venezuelans arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border, Biden has turned to an unlikely source for solution, his predecessor's playbook. Biden last week invoked a Trump-era rule to deny Venezuelans fleeing their crisis-torn country the chance to request asylum at the border. So Joe Biden said that kids in cages was horrible, and then he did the same thing, and the Democrats stopped talking about it. Joe Biden said that Donald Trump's treatment of refugees is horrible and racist, and now we have evidence that he literally did the exact same thing. So when we compare it to AOC saying, ooh, gross, don't put those undocumented Mexicans in my neighborhood, and Joe Biden keeping Latin kids in cages, and AOC not criticizing him, and Joe Biden going to the Trump era cap on refugees for Venezuela, something we wouldn't do here, kind of looks like they don't share our values on refugee status, undocumented immigrants, and interracial marriage. But it doesn't end there, because animal cruelty is the next or fourth front where we can find recent evidence that East Coast liberals are not like us here in California. Let me show you that recently. So it turns out California pig law exposes a divided America. Although it deals primarily with pigs, the California case has oral arguments before the U.S. Supreme Court on Tuesday that could potentially result in a decision as far-reaching as those striking down federal abortion protections and expanding gun rights. At issue is Proposition 12, the ballot measure California voters approved in 2018, requiring bigger cages for certain farm animals, including breeding pigs. Joining the pork producers in opposing the California law is the Joe Biden administration. So both conservative and liberal judges on the nation's court seem skeptical of California's law on Tuesday. So there you go. Both conservative and liberal judges skeptical of California law. Joe Biden works with conservatives to strike down a California law on animal cruelty. Joe Biden reenacts a ban on refugees. Joe Biden keeps kids in cages. Joe Biden can't fix the crisis at the border. Joe Biden now backs animal cruelty. And AOC said, ooh, gross, immigrants in my neighborhood, and I don't know about interracial marriage. So in California, we don't have debates on undocumented immigrants in our neighborhoods. We don't have debates on interracial marriage. We don't have debates on what to do with refugees or should we send them back to horrible countries. And we certainly don't have debates on animal cruelty. But in America, American liberals do, and they oppose our policies. How are they just like us when they don't back us on immigration, interracial unions, refugee and immigration status, and the treatment of animals? Those are four widely different and large venues of progressive values. And yet I just showed you how we don't see eye to eye. So if California was to secede, why do we need to go with the other liberal states since they don't share our values? Something to think about. Okay, we'll see you later.